There was a thoroughbred that went by the nickname of Golden Tyrant. This horse possessed overwhelming strength and an unprecedented madness. The horse's name is Orfevre. In this video, I will provide an explanation about him. Before we begin, let's start with some Japanese snacks. Orfevre was born in 2008. His dam is named Oriental Art. Oriental Art gave birth to a horse named Dream Journey in 2004. Dream Journey gained attention by winning the Asahi Cup Futurity Stakes at the end of 2006. Therefore, the trainer in charge of Dream Journey reportedly requested Deep Impact, who had just made his stallion debut in 2007, as the breeding partner for Oriental Art in that year. However, all three attempts of breeding between Deep Impact and Oriental Art resulted in no pregnancies. Therefore, when Oriental Art came into heat again, the farm manager made the decision to change the breeding partner to Stay Gold. As a result, Oriental Art conceived a foal from Stay Gold. The sire of Dream Journey was also Stay Gold, and as a result, a foal was born who would later be named Orfevre, having the exact same lineage as him. Oriental Art's sire is Majiro McQueen. The cross between Majiro McQueen's mares and Stay Gold is well known for its excellent compatibility, and besides them, another famous horse resulting from this cross is Gold Shit. Due to Stay Gold's small stature, it was expected that the foals born from him would also be small in size. However, contrary to expectations, Orfevre was born with a chestnut coat and an average-sized body, resembling his mother Oriental Art. Orfevre entered the same stable as his brother Dream Journey, and he underwent successful training, with his primary jockey also determined. The primary jockey was E.K. Zoe. Yes, he had also been Dream Journey's primary jockey since 2008. Orfevre's debut race was in August 2010, at Niigata Racecourse over a distance of 1,600 meters. He sharply accelerated in the final straight and took the lead, but his bit went into his mouth, causing him to run diagonally, clearly displeased. In the end, he crossed the finish line in first place, but after the race, he continued running towards the fence, shaking off his jockey E.K. Zoe. Furthermore, he also became unruly during the post-race photo session, leading to the cancellation of the commemorative photos. He displayed his fiery temperament right from the first race. His next race was the Fuyo Stakes. He tracked the race from the middle of the pack as it turned into a slow pace. He made a strong charge but narrowly missed catching the runaway leader, Whale Catcher, finishing in a close second place. And his third race was the Grade 2 KO Cup 2-year-old Stakes. It was his first experience in a graded race, but the distance of 1,400 meters was relatively short for him. Additionally, he struggled to find his rhythm during the race, ultimately finishing in 10th place from the rear throughout. After this defeat, Orfevre was sent to the paddock. This was done to facilitate his growth and development. Upon his return to the training stable, the goal was set on the Derby, and it was decided to gradually teach him the art of racing based on his previous race experiences. Orfevre reappeared in a race in January 2011, specifically in the Grade 3 Shinzen-Kinen. During the race, he pursued from a midfield position and made a furious late charge in the final straight. However, he was unable to catch the leading Red Davis and finished in second place. He subsequently participated in the Grade 3 Kasaragi show in February. In this race as well, he pursued from a position slightly behind the midfield and entered the final straight. The leading horse had a significant lead, but Orfevre chased fiercely. Although he significantly closed the gap, he couldn't overtake the horse in front and finished third. However, the trainer mentioned that not rushing for an immediate victory and exposing Orfevre to such races would later prove to be a significant turning point with great significance. The trainer prioritized Orfevre's education over immediate victories and said to Ikuzo, "It's enough to win the Derby." In the context of the Triple Crown race, the Grade 2 Spring Stakes, which was scheduled as a trial for the Satsuki Show, was relocated from Nakayama Racecourse to Hanshin Racecourse due to the impact of the March 11th East Japan earthquake. Orfevre, who was favored as the top pick, followed the trailing group of horses. He calmly advanced his position by going outside around the final corner. As they entered the final stretch, he had caught up with the leading group. He seized the lead and held off the pursuing horses, crossing the finish line in first place. This marked his first Grade 2 victory. Satsuki Show on April 24 was held at Tokyo Racecourse instead of Nakayama Racecourse. Orfevre was the fourth favorite with odds of 10.8 to win. Orfevre positioned himself slightly behind in the inner track, trailing from the middle group. And he maintained that position almost unchanged as he rounded the final corner. By the time he entered the final straight, he had already moved up to around 5th or 6th place from the front. Then, he swiftly accelerated with great momentum and surged to the front around the remaining 200 meters. Orfevre's speed never waned, and he maintained a 3-length lead over the pursuing horses, ultimately achieving a splendid victory in the Satsuki Show. Due to the intense race, Orfevre was not in a good condition for about 2 weeks after the race due to fatigue. However, he quickly recovered and surprised the trainer. By 1 week before the Derby, his condition had improved significantly. On the day of the Derby, the track condition was poor due to the influence of a typhoon, and it became a heavy track. Orfevre was supported as the favorite with odds of 3.0 to win. When the race started, he positioned himself slightly behind the midfield, just like he did in the Satsuki Show, and jockey Ikuzo focused on keeping the horse calm and composed while running. As Orfevre rounded the final corner, he gradually improved his position, but right after entering the home straight, he got blocked by horses in front of him. However, he remained calm and managed to squeeze through a small opening. From there, he accelerated rapidly and took the lead at the remaining 200 meters. He successfully pulled away from the pursuing horses and achieved the remarkable double crown. He became the champion among 7,458 thoroughbreds born in 2008. By the way, there was a significant 7-length gap between the second and third place horses. After achieving the double crown, there were naturally expectations for Orfevre to achieve the triple crown. In most cases, race horses spend the summer in the cool climate of Hokkaido to prevent heat fatigue. However, Orfevre's trainer chose not to follow this practice and instead allowed him to graze nearby. There was a reason for this decision: to prevent Orfevre from falling ill due to the temperature difference when returning from Hokkaido at the end of summer. Orfevre spent the summer smoothly and appeared in the Grade 2 Kobe Shimbun Cup on September 25. He had gained a remarkable 16 kilograms in weight since the Derby, but it did not mean he was lacking in training. He had further grown and become incredibly robust during the summer. In the Satsuki Show and the Derby, Orfevre positioned himself slightly behind, but in this race, he adopted a more forward strategy and settled in 5th place. The pace was slow with a 1,000-meter time of 63.5 seconds, but he calmly pursued the leaders, showcasing his mental growth as well. In the third corner, Win Variation, who finished second in the Derby, began to challenge Orfevre. Upon seeing this, Orfevre also accelerated simultaneously and started to improve his position. As they entered the home straight, he unleashed a tremendous burst of speed, completing the final 600 meters in a staggering 32.8 seconds, securing a comfortable victory. Upon witnessing this victory, the trainer became convinced that Orfevre would likely win the final leg of the Triple Crown, the Kika Show. The fateful day arrived on October 23. Approximately 68,000 spectators gathered at Kyoto Racecourse for the Kika Show. Orfevre was the favorite with odds of 1.4 to win. Before the race that would decide the Triple Crown, Ikuzo, understandably, felt nervous, but the trainer reassured him, saying, "I believe in you and Orfevre." The Kika Show is a long-distance race of 3,000 meters, and in this race, the course is completed by going around it twice. The crucial point for the Triple Crown contenders comes at the end of the first lap, just before reaching the finish line. At this stage, some horses may get excited by the cheers of the crowd and try to surge forward, resulting in the depletion of their stamina. Orfevre became a little excited, but Ek Zoe skillfully positioned him within the pack of horses to help him calm down. As they entered the second lap, Orfevre regained his composure and ran with a great sense of assurance. Gradually, he started to improve his position around the third corner. By the time they reached the entrance of the final straight, Orfevre had already taken the lead. He opened up a commanding lead. Chasing closely behind was once again Win Variation. However, Orfevre had plenty of room to spare. Towards the end, he even eased off his speed. And thus, he became a Triple Crown winner with a dominant victory. After crossing the finish line, Orfevre didn't stop but continued charging towards the rail, leaving jockey Ek Zoe behind. Yes, just like in his debut race. Including this episode, it can be said that the Kika show truly embodied their style, showcasing their unique characteristics. And once again, Win Variation finished second, following his second-place finish in the Derby. It can be said that he was unfortunate to be born in the same era as Orfevre. In the post-race interview, the trainer expressed their intention to challenge the Arc de Triomphe the following year. Afterwards, Orfevre was sent for a short period of pasture. It was chosen for the next race, the year-end Grand Prix, the Arima-Kinen. Despite achieving the Triple Crown, Orfevre ended up in second place in the fan vote. The first place was reserved for Buena Vista, the strongest mare who was set to retire after this Arima-Kinen. Furthermore, the lineup for this Arima-Kinen was incredibly prestigious. Among the 14 participants, 9 were Grade 1 winners. Among them were Orfevre, Buena Vista, and Victoire Pisa, who had won the Dubai World Cup that year. Among them, Orfevre was the favorite, receiving the most support. As the race started, it unfolded at a very relaxed pace. Orfevre was positioned at the back initially but gradually started moving up the field, approaching the leading group by the time they reached the final corner. As he entered the final straight, he accelerated even further and managed to hold off the sprinting power of the formidable Asian Flash, crossing the finish line in first place. Orfevre's brother, Dream Journey, also won the Arima-Kinen in 2009, so they have now achieved a Grand Prix victory as siblings. Orfevre had an impressive record of 8 wins in 6 races, including 4 victories in Grade 1 races, and he was chosen as the Horse of the Year for that year. As the new year began, Orfevre was selected for his first race, the Grade 2 Hanshin Grand Prize. The choice of this 3,000-meter race was made with the intention of preparing for the Arc de Triomphe during the autumn season. Orfevre became an overwhelming favorite with odds of 1.1 to win. However, perhaps due to his return from a break, he seemed a little agitated and irritable even before the race. The race became quite slow-paced. As a result, Orfevre became even more excited. He couldn't hold back and wanted to go forward, eventually taking the lead on the second lap's backstretch. However, as he found himself alone without other horses around, he apparently attempted to quit the race. He didn't make the turn at the third corner and instead deviated from the course. Orfevre suddenly began to lose speed. His condition was so alarming that it seemed as if he had suffered a fracture or some other injury, judging from the perspective of those watching the race broadcast. The spectators also became restless. Orfevre dropped back considerably towards the rear. However, he accelerated once again from this position. Surprisingly, he closed in on the leading group once more while rounding the final corner. It was an unbelievable race. Orfevre, despite facing significant setbacks, was once again trying to take the lead in the final straight. He chased after the front runner, Gustav Krei, but unfortunately, he couldn't quite catch up and Orfevre finished in second place. Although he was defeated, this race showcased his incredible strength. However, Orfevre, who ran away in this race, is now subject to a retest to determine whether he can run a race properly. His next scheduled race was the Tenno Show Spring, but he will not be able to participate in the race unless he passes the retest. The retest was conducted on April 11th. It took place on the E-course at the Rideau Training Center, and as a result, he was determined to be no problem. He passed the retest. Orfevre has now earned the right to participate in the Tenno Show Spring. Orfevre became the favorite. As soon as the race started, he quickly took a position towards the rear. EK Zoe intentionally created a situation where there was a horse in front of Orfevre, concerned that he might get excited, and deliberately formed a barrier ahead. The race unfolded with Beat Black and Golden Hind pulling away from the others, leading the pack by a significant margin. And that lead continued even at the final corner. Even after entering the final straight, Orfevre remained in the rear group. He made a final sprint of 34.0 seconds in the last 600 meters towards the finish line, but the result was an 11th place finish, significantly behind the winning horse Beat Black. Orfevre seemed unable to demonstrate his usual strength. There could be several factors contributing to his defeat, such as course conditions, his physical condition, and the race dynamics. This defeat has cast some doubt on his challenge for the Arc de Triomphe. While Orfevre had been registered for the Arc de Triomphe, there was a sense that his actual challenge would depend on the results of the Takarazu Kakinen race on June 24. After the Tenno Show Spring race, Orfevre had experienced a significant drop in form. However, according to his trainer, he was expected to recover to about 70% of his condition just before the Takarazu Kakinen race. Still, the trainer was hesitant until the end about whether Orfevre would participate in the Takarazu Kakinen race. However, after Orfevre was selected as the top horse in the fan vote for the Takarazu Kakinen, they decided to confirm his participation in the race. Despite being the favorite once again, Orfevre's consecutive defeats had caused his popularity to drop to odds of 3.2. As the race started, he positioned himself slightly behind the middle pack. The pace was fast, with a 1,000-meter time of 58.4 seconds. Orfevre maintained a comfortable pace, running smoothly. He rounded the final corner amidst a group of horses but found himself running close to the inside rail as he entered the final straight, quickly catching up to the leading horse. Orfevre took the lead on his own around the last 100 meters and held off the pursuing rulership to claim victory by 2 lengths. This marked his 5th win in a Grade 1 race. Furthermore, he achieved a sibling victory with his brother Dream Journey in the Takarazu Kakinen. On July 15, the official plan for the challenge of the Arc de Triomphe was announced. The plan involves participating in the Grade 2 Prix Foy as a preparation race before heading towards the main event, the Arc de Triomphe. Furthermore, it has been decided that Christophe Saumillon will ride Orfevre instead of EK Zoe in the races held in France. This fact was deeply disappointing for EK Zoe, but it also seemed to be a difficult decision for the trainer. The Prix Foy took place on September 16, with only 5 horses participating. Due to a considerably slow pace, Orfevre, as usual, became excited and wanted to go forward. However, Saumillon managed to restrain him and accelerated Orfevre in the final straight, guiding him to victory as they crossed the finish line in first place. Following this victory, some leading British bookmakers had also shown support for Orfevre in the pre-race odds for the Arc de Triomphe, placing him as joint favourite alongside Daydream, who was the champion from the previous year. However, as the race on October 7 approached, news of prominent horses being withdrawn continued to surface. These included Snow Fairy, Daydream, and Nathaniel. When the race started, Orfevre positioned himself as the second horse from the back and calmly pursued the leaders. Jockey Saumillon skillfully calmed Orfevre down and maintained a good rhythm until the final straight. Around the 500-meter mark, they accelerated and made a sudden move to take the lead from the outside. At the remaining 300 meters, Orfevre took the lead. He gradually increased the gap between him and the chasing pack. However, at this point, Orfevre seemed to struggle and veered towards the inside lane. He lost some speed. Salimia started to approach from behind. Right before the finish line, the 2 horses were neck and neck. And when they crossed the finish line, Salimia was leading by a slight margin. It was a truly close race. The first victory by a Japanese horse in the Arc de Triomphe will have to wait. It was a close call, but it was also a race that showcased the competitiveness of Japanese horses at the global top level. Orfevre returned to Japan on October 10. His next race was the Japan Cup on November 25. Ike Zoe was back on Orfevre's back. Additionally, Salimia, the winner of the Arc de Triomphe, also came to Japan. Now, in Japan, a rematch between these two horses will take place. Additionally, there is a 3-year-old filly named Gentildonna who achieved the Triple Tiara this year, and she also participated in the Japan Cup. Furthermore, many talented horses, such as Beat Black, the champion of the Tenno Show Spring, and Asian Flash, the champion of the Tenno Show Autumn, entered the race, making it an exciting and highly anticipated event. Orfevre, still feeling the fatigue from the overseas expedition, was not in the best condition. The trainer remarked that they could have used an extra week of preparation. However, Orfevre became the favorite with odds of 2.0 for a win. When the race started, Orfevre took his usual position towards the back of the field. Beat Black took the lead, and by the time they finished rounding the final corner, Orfevre had moved up to the vicinity of the leading group. Beside him was Gentildonna, and they both made their move together down the final straight. It was a complete sprint with both horses neck and neck. However, in front of Gentildonna, who was on the inside lane, Beat Black, exhausted and losing speed, started to fall back. In order to avoid colliding with Beat Black, Gentildonna bumped into Orfevre. As a result, Orfevre lost his balance and slowed down slightly. Orfevre quickly recovered and continued to battle with Gentildonna, but when they crossed the finish line, he was slightly behind, having been overtaken. Regarding the contact, a deliberation of over 20 minutes took place immediately, but the decision remained unchanged. Gentildonna was declared the winner, with Orfevre finishing in second place. Ike Zoe and the trainer were furious with this ruling. And due to Orfevre's condition not fully recovering, the Japan Cup became his final race for the year. As the new year began, the first race chosen for him in 2013 was the 2000-meter Grade 2 Osaka Cup. In this race, Orfevre calmly pursued the leaders and made his move by going outside around the final corner. Even though his lead was small in the final straight, he ran with ease and achieved a long-awaited victory. It can be said that this was a convincing and comfortable win. His plan after that was to run in the Takarazu Kakinen and then fly back to France to challenge the Arc de Triomphe once again. However, during training leading up to the race, he developed exercise-induced pulmonary hemorrhage, leading to the cancellation of his participation in the Takarazu Kakinen. Fortunately, the pulmonary hemorrhage was a mild case, and he received adequate treatment, allowing the planned expedition to France to proceed as scheduled. Orfevre participated in the Prix, just like the previous year. As in the previous year, jockey Saumillon rode Orfevre in the French race. Despite a slow pace, Orfevre maintained his composure and pulled away from the field in the final straight, winning by a margin of 3 lengths. Saumillon commented on Orfevre, whom he reunited with after a year, saying, "He has grown up and become more composed," referring to his mental development. In that year's Arc de Triomphe, there was another accomplished horse challenging from Japan. It was the 3-year-old Derby winner, Kizuna. European horses also had notable entries of talented 3-year-olds. Ruler of the World, Intello, Tree, and Leading Light were among them. Orfevre positioned himself slightly behind the midfield and pursued the leaders. Tree, who was behind Orfevre, overtook him on the false straight. Then, she surged ahead and widened her lead in the final straight. Orfevre tried to chase her, but the gap only grew wider. Orfevre finished second, ultimately trailing 5 lengths behind Tree. It was the second consecutive year finishing in second place. In response to this result, the trainer commented, "He gave it his all." After the race, Orfevre took a leisurely rest in France before returning to Japan. Then, it was decided that the Arimakinen in December would be his retirement race. Orfevre topped the fan voting and was also the favorite on the race day. When the race began, Orfevre trailed in 4th place from behind. He found himself in a position where he could see Gold Ship ahead of him. The race remained largely unchanged until the latter half, but around the third corner, Orfevre gradually advanced his position by going outside. With an overwhelming speed, he had already taken the lead at the entrance to the final straight. From there, he only continued to widen the gap between himself and the chasing pack. When he crossed the finish line, he had an impressive lead of 8 lengths ahead of the second-place horse. His overwhelming strength caused the crowd to cheer in excitement. In this way, Orfevre had a magnificent retirement race. With this, he retired and became a stallion. His overall record was 21 races with 12 victories, including 6 wins in Grade 1 races. In his first year as a stallion in 2015, 156 foals were born. They made their debut in 2017, and right away, Lucky Lilac won the Hanshin Juvenile Fillies, achieving the first Grade 1 victory for Orfevre as a sire. Furthermore, in 2021, Marque Lorraine won the Breeders' Cup Distaff. In addition, Ushba Tesoro won the Dubai World Cup in 2023, showing remarkable performances. Orfevre seems to pass on abundant power and stamina to his progeny, as evidenced by their results in dirt races. The offspring born in 2019 were only 32, which was a small number, but in other years, around 100 offspring are born annually. The development of Orfevre's bloodline is expected to continue in the future. That's all for this time. If you want to know more about Japanese horses, subscribe to this channel. Thank you.